Hello everyone, this is part 3 of What If Naruto Married Ino, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video and to like, to subscribe, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Ino woke up the next morning in her empty bed and there was a delicious smell in the air. She walked out of the bedroom to see Naruto making them breakfast. Ino smiled as she snuck up on him and as she got close to him, thinking she had him. Good morning, Ino-chan. Ino stomped her foot down and started to swear. How do you always seem to know when I am sneaking up on you? Naruto smiled at her as he turned around and put some pancakes on a plate for her and then on some for him, and he looked at her. If I told you, then you would know how to sneak up on me. Ino growled at him a little and he put the dirty dishes in the sink and put some water in them for while they ate, and he came over to Ino and put his hand on her cheek and pulled her into a passionate kiss. There is your proper good morning as well, gorgeous. Ino smiled and blushed at the comment, and then they sat down at the table and ate the food that Naruto had prepared for them and talked about little things. Thanks for breakfast, Naruto-kun, it was delicious. Naruto smiled at her as he finished eating as well and took her plate and silverware with his to the sink and started to clean it all off, and Ino watched him and got up and started to help him. They finished and there was a knocking sound and Ino went and opened the door and saw her parents standing there. Hey mom, daddy, I guess you heard that Naruto asked me to move into her apartment with him. Ino's parents came into the apartment and looked around, and then Naruto walked out of the kitchen and saw Ino's parents. I'll get a shirt on. Naruto disappeared into the bedroom and grabbed a black beater and slipped it on and then walked out and joined Ino and her parents in the living room, and Ino looked at Naruto with an irritated look. What did I do? Naruto sat down next to Ino as she glared at him. You asked them for permission to ask me to move in with you 3 weeks ago and you just asked me. Naruto looked over at Ino's parents and Inoki pointed at Ino, who was smiling, and then looked back at Ino. I was waiting for this complex to be finished, Ino-chan, and then I was gone on a mission, and when I came back we were busy. Ino blushed a little at his phrasing and then smiled at him. I guess that you get away with it then, Naruto-kun. That is your free pass for this month though. Naruto smiled and leaned back and Ino cuddled into his shoulder and chest like she loves to. So mom, daddy, what are you doing here? Inoki smiled at the young couple. We wanted to see what your new place was like and congratulate you two only taking the next step. Ina smiled as she looked at how happy her daughter was because she was with Naruto. So when do we get to start planning the wedding, Ino? Ino and Naruto's eyes shot open wide and Inoki choked on the air. What wedding? They are only 18 and been together 6 months. Ina waved her hand and at Inoki and smiled. Oh, engagements can last 6 to 8 months typically, Inoki. Unless he is like you, then it lasts for a year and a half. Inoki rolled his eyes at the comment. I swear you are never going to let that go, are you, dear? Naruto, if you two do get engaged, make sure you marry her within the typical time frame. Naruto was nervous and Ino could feel how tense he was from the conversation that was going on around him and came to his defense. Naruto-kun and I aren't ready for that yet. We are happy with the speed we are moving, and when that time comes it will come, right Naruto-kun? Naruto was still nervous but nodded his head, and Inoki could see how uncomfortable they had made the young man. Sorry that we made you so uncomfortable, Naruto. Naruto started to be a little more at ease, but the conversation had put him on edge and he smiled at him. Oh, I am fine, just fine. Ino knew he was lying just from his tone. He was nervous and worried now. Damn it, now he is freaking out about this. Thanks a lot, mom and dad. Ino tightly gripped Naruto's hand and Naruto looked at her and gave a half smile. I am fine, Ino-chan. Just fine. Ino gave him a look and he knew that she knew that he was lying to her, and he brushed the hair out of the middle of her face and looked into her eyes and smiled. We can talk later, all right? Ino nodded as she looked back at her parents. She had told them about how Naruto was worried and nervous about every little move that he made when it came to them. Inoki looked over at Ina and realized that they had freaked him out much worse than he was letting on. Well, we just wanted to come and see what your new place was like. We will be on our way now. Ina looked over at Inoki with a confused look and his eyes told her to get up and follow, and she did, and Naruto went and opened the door for them. Thanks for stopping by, Mr. and Mrs. Yamanaka. They both smiled and Ina walked out first and Inoki stopped and put his hand on Naruto's shoulder. There is no need to worry, Naruto, and there is no need to rush. Inoki walked out of the apartment and Naruto closed the door and looked to see Ino looking at him. Yes, Ino-chan. Ino pulled him to the couch and sat him down and looked at him. How badly are you worrying right now, Naruto-kun? Naruto looked at her and smiled and decided he was going to try and play it off. Who said that I am worrying, Ino-chan? Ino gave him a look and he knew what the look meant and he scratched the back of his head. Well, maybe I am worrying a little bit. Ino kept on looking at him. He knew that he wasn't going to be getting away with this in the slightest. Okay, maybe I am worrying a lot. Ino continued to look at him and then sat down on the coffee table and took Naruto's hand. What are you worrying about, Naruto? Naruto looked at her and brushed the hair out of the middle of her face again. Worrying about a lot of things. If I am moving too slow for you, moving too fast, moving at the right speed. If marrying me is something you want someday, what if I take too long to ask or too long of an engagement period? What if? Ino kissed him to shut him up. It was an effective way to shut the other one up that they both used and she broke the kiss. Stop worrying, Naruto. Are we moving too slow or fast? No, I think we are moving at the right speed. Do I want to marry you someday? Then the answer is yes, but right now seems like it would be too soon. You asked at the right time for us moving in together, so you will be fine on your timing for purposing as well. The engagement period is on us both. We have to agree on a date. My mother just likes to blame my daddy and he just accepts it. She put her hand on his cheek and started to rub it. So stop worrying, okay, Naruto-kun, and when you do worry, just talk to me about it and not keep it all bottled up. Naruto nodded as he looked at her and he leaned forward to kiss her, but she stood up and smiled at him. Who said you get a kiss? Naruto looked at her and smiled as he knew it was her playful tone and he tapped behind her kneecaps and she came down and he caught her and pinned her to the couch. I did. Naruto leaned in and kissed her and she kissed him back. She had to admit he was getting smarter when it came to her and sometimes it made screwing with him more difficult. Naruto broke the kiss and smiled as he let her go and sat up to get off of the couch, but she pulled him back down. Where do you think you're going, Naruto-kun? Naruto smiled as he picked her up and started to kiss her neck, making her moan to take them to their room, and he listened and started to carry her into the bedroom when there was a knock at the door and he groaned. Should we just ignore it, Ino-chan? She smiled at him and kissed him as he held her up and she wrapped her legs around his waist. Let's see who it is and then we can continue. Naruto sighed as he carried her over to the door and there was Sakura again and she threw her hands up. What do you two just walk around your apartment like that? Naruto closed the door with his foot and Ino giggled and he went to walk away and they heard her yell through the door. Naruto, I need you to come on a mission with me. Naruto was about to yell through the door when Ino reached back and opened it and Naruto scooted forward so she didn't fall. He has 5 more days off before he is allowed to go on a mission, plus you don't even like Naruto, so what do you really want, huh? Ino unwrapped her legs from Naruto and he put her down on the ground and sighed, mumbling under his breath, damn pink mood killer. Ino smiled as she heard him as he walked away and Sakura heard him too. What does he mean by that? Ino looked at her and had a more serious look and tone. It means we were about to make love and you interrupted and now he knows I am not in the mood anymore, hence damn pink mood killer. Now tell me what it is you really want with my boyfriend. Sakura looked into the apartment and then back at Ino. Can we at least talk about this inside, Ino? You're not going to like what I say. Ino opened the door a little bit more so that she could enter and Naruto looked at her from the living room and glared at her and Ino stood next to her. Wow, he is really mad at you for ruining the mood, Sakura. Ino came and sat next to Naruto and Sakura sat in the chair that was across from them and looked around and saw things she never knew about, one being Naruto's guitar. Naruto, you played a guitar. Ino felt her jealousy quickly rising from the fact that Naruto once wrote songs for Sakura. He does, but he only plays for me. Naruto smiled at the fact that he knew she was getting jealous and put his arm around her and kissed her neck and whispered in her ear, we are both the jealous type, aren't we? Ino smiled as she looked at Naruto and kissed his lips gently before looking back at Sakura. So what is it that you wanted to tell me, Sakura? Sakura looked at Ino and then at Naruto. Like I said, you aren't going to like the conversation. I have feelings for Naruto and want to be with him. Naruto rolled his eyes and leaned his head back but looked at Ino, who seemed worried, and he knew why. Then Naruto looked at Sakura. Never going to happen. I love Ino-chan with everything that I am. Ino started to relax a little bit, but Naruto could still feel the worry and tension on her, and Sakura was picking it up as well. It doesn't look like Ino believes you, Naruto. Naruto went to speak again, but Ino spoke first. No, I do believe him. I know that he loves me almost as much as I love him. Naruto interrupted her. I love you more. Ino smiled and continued. I love him more, so don't listen to him. I also know that he would never pick another woman over me. So if that is all you had to say, then you can get out and stay away from my boyfriend. Go talk to Shikamaru and maybe you can be stalker lovers. Sakura got up and went to the exit of the living room and looked back at the blonde couple. I am serious that I have feelings for him, Ino. With that, Sakura left and Ino had a worried expression still, and Naruto looked at her and turned her to face him. Ino-chan. Ino quickly lunged and tightly hugged Naruto and he wrapped his arms around her. Naruto-kun, never pick another woman over me. Naruto held her close to him and kissed her forehead. Don't worry, Ino-chan, you know that you are the only woman for me. Just because she says she has feelings for me doesn't mean anything. Ino looked up at Naruto. She was worrying less, but Naruto still saw worry in his eyes. I know, but you had such strong feelings for her for such a long time. I don't want to lose you, Naruto-kun. Naruto pulled her onto his lap and looked directly into her eyes after brushing the hair away again. Ino-chan, those feelings I felt for her were gone before we even started to date. You worry about those strong feelings I once had for her, but you don't need to because they are gone and were replaced by even stronger feelings for you. Ino smiled at his words and quickly kissed him and leaned her forehead against his as her hair fell back into its normal spot. Thank you, Naruto-kun. I hope I am able to help you as much as you help me when you're worried. Naruto smiled at her and put his hand on her cheek. You do, Ino-chan, you make it so I stop worrying all the time. Ino smiled and slid off of his lap and laid down on the couch and pulled him down with her, and they made out for a couple of hours until they got too hungry to keep going. Naruto grabbed the phone and ordered him a pizza. They both liked cheese pizza, which made ordering a piece of cake. The pizza was quick as always since Naruto was friends with the owner and the delivery boy was his son. Naruto paid the boy the money for the pizza and then gave him a big tip and he ran off. Why do you tip him so much every time, Naruto-kun? Naruto smiled at her as he put the pizza on the bar next to her. How do you think that we get the pizza so fast every time, Ino-chan? Ino smiled as she understood it. He paid the boy the extra money to make it so whenever Naruto placed an order, the pizza got here almost as soon as it was done. Such a clever man, aren't you, Naruto-kun? Naruto placed his hands on her sides and gently moved them on her bare skin to her stomach and back, managing to keep you, Ino-chan, so I would say I am clever. Ino smiled as she put her plate down and looked at him and gave him a small kiss. Did your little friend happen to bring a new movie for us to watch? Naruto smiled as he got himself some pizza as well and then went and put it on the coffee table and pulled out a bag and handed it to Ino, who looked inside and smiled. When were you able to pull this off, Naruto-kun? Naruto smiled as he sat down and took a bite out of his pizza. I woke up a lot earlier than you think, Ino-chan, and I am friends with the guy that owns the movie store, so I called him and he let me in early. Ino smiled as she looked at the 20 new movies that he had bought for them. She had a guilty pleasure of liking raunchy comedy movies and action flicks, never really getting into the chick flicks, which Naruto was happy about. Some good movies in here, Naruto-kun. You got Never Back Down too, but there is no Sean Ferris in it. Naruto rolled his eyes and then put the movie aside to tease her. Well, I guess I will take the movie back tomorrow. Ino quickly grabbed the movie and put it with the others. I didn't say that I wasn't going to watch the movie eventually, so watch what you grab, mister. Naruto smiled as he finished off one piece of the pizza and Ino looked and saw another bag. What's in that bag, Naruto-kun? Naruto looked over at the bag and smiled and looked back at her. Those are my superhero movies: Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, Iron Man 1 and 2, Green Lantern, X-Men movies, Avengers, Thor, Spider-Man, all the movies you don't really like watching all that much. He had a point there. She wasn't nearly as entertained with the superhero movies as Naruto was, but he had read to comics when he was younger, saying they were cheap and his only company, but it played out good in the end since he had sold them all last year and made over 100 million from his collection. Ino smiled and kissed him as she looked at the movies and saw some of the movies that she had been looking at but never bought. You bought Total Recall, Born Legacy, Takers, both of the Boondock Saints movies and The Underworld Awakening. Naruto smiled at her as she took out the movies with happiness written on her face, and he took another bite of his pizza before he answered her. Those were the 6 movies that you kept looking at when we went to rent movies, right? Ino nodded her head and then looked over at him and passionately kissed him. Thank you so much, Naruto-kun. So which one should we watch tonight? Naruto smiled at her as she broke the kiss and he could tell how excited she was. Well, which one was the one you wanted to see most? Ino lifted up the Born Legacy movie but then lowered it. We can't watch it unless we watch the other 3 first though, Naruto-kun, so let's watch Total Recall tonight and maybe a movie day tomorrow. We can even watch a couple of superhero movies tomorrow. Naruto smiled at her and kissed her. Sounds great, Ino-chan, but we don't have to watch a superhero movie. I know you don't care for them. Ino smiled at him and put her hand on his cheek and handed him the Total Recall case. We will watch 2 or 3 of them, Naruto-kun. They are okay and you explain everything for me so that I get it, which makes them better, but I want you to at least watch some movies you are excited about. Naruto smiled and stood up and put the Total Recall movie into the DVD player and grabbed the pizza box and a couple of sodas for them and sat down next to her. Thanks, Ino-chan. I will try to pick one of the ones that are easier to follow. Ino cuddled into his chest, deciding that the pizza that she would eat would be the same piece as him and he didn't mind sharing with her. They finished the large pizza and watched the movie that Ino had been so anxious to see, and when it was finished she smiled. Was good, but I think the original was better. Naruto smiled as he stood up and looked at the time and picked up Underworld Awakening. Is this one a part of a series like Born? Ino nodded her head and he put it down and picked up the bag and looked for another movie and took out Hitman. Want to watch this next, babe? Ino smiled as he called her babe. He rarely used pet names like that and neither did she. She shook her head yes and he took out Total Recall and put in Hitman and sat down with her again and she cuddled into him as he leaned back into the couch. Naruto-kun, how come we don't use pet names like babe that often? Naruto shrugged his shoulders as he held her close to him and he put up the recliner part of the couch and laid back a little further as Ino cuddled into him more. I don't know, Ino-chan, does it bother you that we don't? Ino shook her head. No, it doesn't bother me, just wonder why we don't say them that often. I think that I am going to start calling you Foxy from now on. Naruto rose his eyebrow at the comment about his new nickname. Foxy, huh? Couldn't come up with a better name than that, babe. Ino smiled at him and kissed his cheek as the movie started and she sighed happily. Well, I can call you Pillow instead if you want. Naruto laughed a little at the comment and then he pulled her closer to him and she wrapped an arm around him and laid her head on the middle of his chest. Whichever you want to call me is fine, Ino-chan. I will just call you babe, baby, dear, beautiful, gorgeous, or Ino-chan. Ino smiled as they watched the movie and she fell asleep on his chest. When the movie ended, Naruto lifted her up gently and carried her to their bedroom and laid her down and covered her with the sheets and went to clean up the mess from the pizza and sodas and such. Ino felt the cool embrace of the sheets and didn't feel Naruto climb in with her and walked out of the bedroom to see where he was and saw him cleaning up the mess and she leaned in the archway and yawned. Pillow that can wait until tomorrow. Naruto smiled as he finished cleaning up the mess and looked over at Ino. Ino-chan, you're tired, you should have stayed in bed. Naruto turned off the light to the living room and locked the front door and came back by Ino, who yawned again, and he picked her up and carried her to their bedroom and laid her down gently and took off his shirt and climbed into bed as well. She rolled over onto him and laid her head on his chest and sighed happily. I couldn't sleep without my Foxy, I love you, Pillow. Naruto smiled as she fell asleep and at the fact she mixed up her Foxy and Pillow nicknames for him and then he kissed the top of her head. Good night, Ino-chan, I love you too. Naruto and Ino woke up at around 7, both of them sleeping good all night, and then there was a knocking at the door and Naruto's groaned as he held Ino against him. Why do people have to bother us so much? Ino smiled at the comment and kissed his chest and then his lips. We should get up soon anyways, Naruto-kun, it's already 7 and we have a big day planned. Naruto smiled as she was excited for their movie marathon day. You know, if you want we can do this once a month, have a movie marathon day with movies we buy during the month. Ino smiled at the idea and kissed him again as she got on top of him and stated to kiss him passionately. Good morning, Foxy. Naruto smiled at her as she slid off of him and out of the bed and went to the doorway and saw it was Sakura and groaned as Naruto came out of their bedroom shirtless. No, go get a shirt on, it's her. Naruto turned around and put on a zipper sweatshirt that way it wasn't showing anything and easy to take off for when he was watching movies with Ino. Ino opened the door and saw Sakura and then Naruto came and put his hands on her hips to turn her and passionately kissed her, gliding his tongue into her mouth which he was channeling chakra into, but she didn't know, and getting a loud couple of moans from her. Naruto broke the kiss and saw Ino's happily stunned look and winked at her. Good morning to you, beautiful woman that I love. Oh, are you here again, mood killer? Sakura had wide eyes at the way that Naruto kissed Ino right in front of her and she stumbled on her words. Can you, go. Naruto then interrupted her and finished her statement, "No, I won't go on a mission with you for God's sakes." Naruto slammed the door shut in her face and smiled, then spoke loud enough for Sakura to hear through the door. "That felt really good to do, maybe now she will stop coming around since no one wants her around." Ino quickly dove at Naruto and covered his lips in a hot and passionate kiss, and when they broke she smiled at him. "That was the best thing you could have ever done for me." Naruto smiled at her as he held her close to him and kissed her again. "I thought that you would like that, Ino-chan. I hope you liked it for more than just the audience though." Ino nodded her head as she looked into her boyfriend's eyes. "I always like when you confess your love for me, Foxy, and it was an amazing kiss." Naruto smiled at her and put his hands on her sides and kissed her again. "I am going to run to the store to get chips, dip and some sodas for our movie marathon, okay, Ino-chan?" Ino told him to wait a minute and she looked out the door to see Sakura was gone, and then she smiled and nodded at him. "I will write a note to put on our door." Naruto nodded and grabbed his wallet and keys and walked out the door, but came back in and kissed Ino on the cheek. "Be right back, I love you, Ino-chan." Naruto then walked out of the door and closed the door gently as she yelled through it, "I love you more, Naruto Uzumaki." Naruto smiled on the other side of the door and looked at it and yelled back, "Liar, I love you more, Ino Yamanaka." Naruto jumped off of the balcony and jumped off of roofs and landed in front of the grocery store and picked up everything and paid the bill and quickly went home, and when he landed in front of the door he saw the note and read it. "We are having a movie marathon. If important, call the house line. You only know it if you're important. Don't have it, then fuck off. Thanks. Ino and Naruto." Naruto smiled at the note and laughed a little. "God, I love that woman." Then Naruto unlocked the door and walked into the apartment and closed and relocked the door. Naruto put the bags down and unzipped the sweatshirt and hung it up next to the door and walked into the living room to see Ino sitting there waiting for him in one of his beaters and some of his basketball shorts, and he put the groceries down. "I loved the note, Ino-chan." Ino smiled as she helped him get everything out of the bags and set it all up and pulled him down on the couch to cuddle into him since she had the first movie already in, and he smiled as he put his arm around her as she cuddled into him more. "This is going to be a great day, just me and my boyfriend watching great movies." Naruto kissed her forehead as he looked at how happy she was. "Sound like a perfect day to me, just holding you all day." Ino looked up at him and smiled as she motioned for him to come closer, and he leaned down and she kissed him gently. "Tonight we are going to make love, Naruto-kun." Naruto smiled at her and kissed her again and then kissed her forehead. "Only if you want to, Ino-chan. I am happy just holding you at night." Ino smiled at him and held him closely. She really did love the fact that he had never pushed for sex or anything physical. He hadn't tried one time since they moved in together, and Shikamaru was calling her over all the time trying to get something physical. She kissed his chest gently as he started the movie and sighed happily and spoke as they watched the movie start. "Thank you for never trying to force me into something, Naruto-kun." Naruto looked down at her a little confused and he paused the movie. "Did he force you to do things, Ino-chan?" His tone was a little angry and Ino could hear it and rubbed her hand on his abs and chest. "Calm down, Naruto-kun. He never physically forced me, more of mentally and emotionally forced me with threats of leaving me if I didn't." She could hear his heartbeat increasing as he spoke in an angered tone. "Bastard, I will kill him next time I see him for doing that to you." Ino smiled as she could tell how serious her boyfriend was and leaned up and kissed him. "It's okay, Naruto-kun, you don't have to do that just for me. I am over it and him since I have someone so much better than him in every way now." Naruto smiled at her comment and she could hear his heartbeat slowing down to its normal pace when she was this close to him. "That's right, sweetie, calm down and watch movies with me." Naruto pressed the play button again and held her close to him as they watched the Four-born movies, only getting up switch movies and going to the bathroom when they switched the movies. Ino looked at the movies and then looked over at Naruto. "Why don't we watch a couple of your movies now, Naruto-kun, before we make some dinner?" Naruto smiled at her and grabbed his bag of movies and took them out and looked at them and decided on the Batman movies and put in Batman Begins and saw Ino sitting on the other side of the couch from where they were sitting a moment ago, and he looked at her confused. She smiled at him and pulled him down onto the couch and rested his head on her lap and started to stroke his hair, and he smiled up at her. "If you wanted to sit in a different way, all you had to do was ask, babe." Ino smiled as she stroked his whisker marks, getting a moan out of him, and he turned his head towards the movie and reached for the remote. "Let's watch your movies, Naruto-kun." They watched the 3 Batman movies and Ino stroked his hair and cheeks the whole time, making him feel completely at ease. When the 3 Batman movies were done, Naruto looked up at Ino and smiled at her. They weren't too bad, were they, Ino-chan? I hope you didn't suffer too much. Ino smiled at Naruto as he sat up and looked at her and she kissed him gently. They were fine, Naruto-kun. It was easier to follow with the background movie and they were movies that I know you wanted to watch, which makes me happy. Naruto looked over at the clock and saw that it was 6:30 and then looked back at Ino. What do you want to do for dinner, gorgeous? Then we can probably watch a couple more movies before we go to bed. Ino smiled at him and pulled him into a kiss. Why don't we go out for some burgers or something, Naruto-kun? And don't forget, we are going to make love tonight. Naruto smiled at her and kissed her gently. Only if you want to though, Ino-chan, and burgers sound great. The couple went to the burger shop that was just around the corner and ate and then returned home to clean up the mess from earlier and watch 2 more movies. Ino had decided on the Boondock Saints series and she cuddled into Naruto's chest. When the movie was over, Naruto looked at Ino and she looked like she was asleep and Naruto smiled. She is such a lightweight when it comes to late night movies. Naruto lifted her up and carried her into their bedroom, and when he laid her down she put her arm around him and pulled him down onto the bed. I am not a lightweight, just too clever for you, Foxy. Naruto smiled as he looked up at her as she laid above him smiling. So you were faking it so I would carry you to bed, that it, babe? Ino smiled as she leaned down and captured his lips in a kiss. You like to carry me, Naruto-kun, and you are most vulnerable when you are carrying me. You're getting smarter, which makes my sneak attacks harder to do. Naruto laughed as he rolled her over onto the bottom and looked at her as the moonlight hit her. You're so beautiful, Ino-chan. A blush arose on her cheeks and she leaned up and kissed him, putting her arms around his neck to deepen the kiss some more. Lemon chapter. When he eventually broke the kiss, she ran her hand down to his pants and undid them and slid them off of him along with his boxes and smiled. You look like you're ready to burst, Foxy. Naruto smiled as he felt her hand start to move up and down his shaft and started to kiss her shoulder. I can't help it after cuddling with you all day, Ino-chan. MMM. Ino smiled at the comment. She was proud of the fact that she was able to make her boyfriend so hard and would take care of it for him. You could have asked for some relief earlier, Naruto-kun. I would have gladly helped you out. Naruto let out a small moan as he felt her speed increase and he took off his beater that she was wearing. We were watching movies though, Ino-chan, and you were really enjoying that. I didn't want to interrupt that with a request like that. Ino smiled as she leaned down and kissed him, gliding her tongue into his mouth to wrestle with his, but he won like he always did before they separated from their kiss. I am your girlfriend, Foxy. I like to take care of you, and I know if you asked and I said not right now you wouldn't push it any further. Naruto nodded as he ran his hands to her breasts and started to massage them as he felt the pressure start to build in his balls, and he lowered his head to suck on her nipples. They both let out a moan and Naruto stopped sucking her nipples. Ino-chan, I am getting close. With that he erupted on her stomach and his basketball shorts and he grabbed his beater and wiped her off and kissed her gently. Allow me to return the favor now, Ino-chan. He had a devious grin as he slid of the basketball shorts and panties and revealed her soaking wet womanhood. Wow, Ino-chan, this isn't just from while we have been in here, has it? Ino shook her head no as she felt him blow a stream of air on her clit and give it a long suck, making her moan his name, and started to lick her folds as she spoke. Naruto-kun, oh god. MMM. No, I have been wet, since I had your head on my lap. Naruto smiled as he looked up at her and gave her clit another suck as he slowly put 2 fingers inside of her. Same goes for you, Ino-chan. You ever need some relief, all you have to do is ask. Ino nodded her head as his fingers sped up and he licked her clit and brought her to her first orgasm of the night while screaming his name, and he took out his fingers and licked off her juices and then started to eat her out. She felt his tongue going all over her insides, and then he did something new that felt amazing to her. He channeled some of his chakra into his tongue as he gave her a tongue lick on her walls, and she released again as he drank it all up as she moaned. Naruto-kun, where did you learn that? Naruto looked up at her and smiled at her and kissed up her body and gave her a gentle kiss on the lips. I have been practicing channeling my chakra to my tongue. Makes it so I taste things more, and I figured that you would enjoy the sensation of my chakra entering you, though your most intimate spot. He leaned down to her ear, just like I did with that kiss this morning. Ino's eyes squinted at him as she looked into his devious eyes. I knew there was something that was different about that kiss. I thought it might have been the satisfaction of kissing you like that in front of her, but you were doing that to make me moan, weren't you, Naruto-kun? Naruto looked at her and then lowered his lips to hers for a small and gentle kiss. I kissed you like that because I wanted to, not because of her. Making you moan is just a bonus, Ino-chan. Ino smiled as she liked the answer. She didn't want him doing anything because of Sakura. Good, I want everything you do to be because of us and nothing to do with her. Naruto nodded and gave her a devious look. What are you up to, Naru? He leaned down and gave her another chakra-filled kiss and got a couple of loud moans out of her for it, and he slowly entered her before he broke the kiss, smiling at her as she had a dazed expression and a heavy blush. I love those kisses. Naruto smiled at her and leaned down and started to kiss her neck and then up to her ear. You know that you came because of the fact I entered you and kiss you like that at the same time. Ino blushed from him saying that. That's a powerful kiss, Naruto-kun. You should give me them more. Naruto smiled at her as he put his hand on her hip and started to pump inside of her, and she locked her legs around him and turned him so that he was on bottom. This time I am going to be on top, Naruto-kun. No rolling me over. Naruto nodded at her as she rocked her hips and got a moan from her boyfriend and smiled victoriously and kept on going. She felt herself starting to get close to another orgasm though. He felt her tightening around him as well and reached up with one hand and pinched her nipple and with the other rubbed her clit, and she moaned his name loudly as she came, and she had to put her arm on the bed to stay up but never stop rocking her hips. Naruto smiled up at her and leaned up and kissed her as her arms started to shake, and Naruto looked at the dazed expression in her eyes and tried to talk through his moans. Ino-chan, do you want to be on bottom now? You look tired. Ino reluctantly nodded as he gently rolled him over, and he looked at her a little worried and didn't start right away as he looked at her. Are you okay to keep going, Ino-chan? Ino smiled at him. He was always so worried about her and always put her first. I will be great when you get back to work. Hop to it, Foxy. Naruto smiled at her and started to go out to his head and then thrust all the way back in hard and fast, her eyes rolling into the back of her head as he did. Oh God. Naruto. He felt her tighten as he did his fifth pump into her, and she orgasmed again, and he smiled. He loved pleasuring her, but he felt himself starting to get close. He put his hand on her hip and one on her clit and started to rub it as his speed increased. Ino knew he was getting close now, and she tightened up again as she was brought to another orgasm, screaming out his name as she did. Naruto was at the edge and pinched her clit and put his mouth on her breast and licked her nipple with chakra on his tongue as he was at his top speed and felt her get the tightest she had ever gotten and gave a hard orgasm and yelled out, Naruto-kun. The sensation of how tight she had gotten and her moaning out his name took him over the edge, and he released with a moan, Ino-chan. Naruto pulled out of her as he kissed up her panting chest to her lips and went to give her a gentle kiss, but she deepened it almost instantly, and as they broke she smiled at him. You're such a stud. Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled at her and pushed the hair out of her face and stared into her eyes and gave her a gentle kiss before he laid his back down on the middle of the bed, and she rolled onto his chest and put her arm around him as he put his arm around her, and they pulled each other as close as possible. Naruto stroked her hair as she continued to pant, and his breathing returned to normal, and he looked at her and lifted her chin to look at him, and he stared into her eyes. I love you, Ino-chan, more than anything. Ino smiled as she scooted up his body and rested her chin on his shoulder and kissed his chin, then smiled at him. I love you more, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled as he looked at her and pulled her so that she was on top of him, and he gave her another kiss. Impossible, Ino-chan. I love you more than anyone could love anyone. Ino smiled as she looked at him and ran her hand on his cheeks. Naruto-kun, just let me win this one, please. I love you more. Naruto saw that she was starting to fall asleep, and he put his arms around her and kissed her gently one last time for the night and looked at her. Okay, Ino-chan, tonight you can love me more, but tomorrow I will love you more again. Ino smiled as she laid her head down on Naruto's chest, and she quickly drifted off to sleep, and Naruto smiled as she did and drifted off to sleep as well. The couple woke up to the sound of knocking at 10, and Naruto groaned like he always did and held Ino in place as she groaned as well. Leave whoever it is at the door, babe. Ino kissed his neck down his jawline to his chin, then gave him a kiss on the lips. When has that ever worked for us? We do that and they just knock. There was a pounding sound at the door, harder. Ino got out of bed and grabbed Naruto's boxes and went to grab the beater, but remembered Naruto had wiped her stomach with it and grabbed one of his older shirts and boxes out of the drawer, then put them on and walked to the door, and Naruto sat up in bed to wait to hear who it was, and Inos groaned, told him who it was, tell her to fuck off babe and then come back to bed and cuddle with me some more. Ino smiled at the idea and opened the door, and Sakura was standing there. No, he will not go on a mission with you, Sakura. She went to close the door, but then a strong arm stopped her and she looked to see Shikamaru standing there with a smile. Hello, Ino. Naruto recognized the voice and slipped on the basketball shorts Ino had been wearing the other day and came out of the bedroom and saw him pinning her to the wall and trying to kiss her. Get away from me, Shikamaru. Naruto ran and grabbed Shikamaru by the throat and lifted him off the ground as his eyes turned red from the Kyuubi chakra taking over his chakra system from his anger, and he walked out of the apartment and threw Shikamaru over the balcony and jumped out after him, and as he was falling got a Rasengan in his hand, and as Shikamaru was a foot above the ground delivered it into his stomach, killing the man instantly. Naruto looked back up at the balcony where Ino and Sakura stood looking at him, and Naruto jumped back up and stood next to Ino as he looked at Sakura. You see what happened right there? Fuck off or you're next. I want nothing to do with you. Do you understand that yet, you stupid pink bitch? Sakura shook her head yes as she ran away from the apartment complex, and Ino put her hand on his chest and looked at him. Calm down, Naruto-kun, it's okay now. Naruto looked at Ino and his breathing started to return to normal as his eyes returned to their normal shade of blue, and Kiba came running on out of his apartment in a towel and Hinata followed in one as well. What happened? What was the loud noise? Naruto and Ino both looked at their friends and smiled. Looks like they were having some fun, eh, Naruto-kun? Hinata started to blush as Kiba saw a crowd gathering and looked down to see a dead Shikamaru, and Hinata looked as well and they looked at Naruto. Finally just killed him, huh? Naruto scratched the back of his head. I told his dad to tell him that I would. I wasn't sure if they were empty words or not at the time, but he had Ino-chan pinned against a wall and was trying to forcefully kiss her and I lost it. Kiba nodded in understanding. Hey, I would have done the same thing if someone was doing that to Hinata-chan. Hinata nodded as she looked at Naruto. Plus you have the legal paperwork that allows you to do that to him if you want, so you have nothing to worry about. Naruto nodded as he looked at Ino and saw she had bruise marks forming from where Shikamaru was grabbing. Here, baby, you hurt. Ino looked at her arms and rubbed them and then looked at Naruto. I will be fine, Naruto-kun. No need to worry about them since you already took care of the problem. She leaned up and kissed Naruto and he happily kissed her back, and they broke and saw Kiba and Hinata going to finish their shower. We need to take showers after last night, Ino-chan. Ino smiled at her boyfriend and pulled him in by his hand and closed the door and started to take off the clothes they were wearing and pushed him into the shower and smiled deviously. Okay, Naruto-kun, let's take a shower. Naruto and Ino finished making love to each other again, and Ino wasn't able to walk for about 20 minutes afterwards, which made Naruto smile, which Ino noticed. What are you smiling about, Naruto-kun? Naruto continued to smile as he put her down on the couch so that she could pick what movie they were going to watch. Guess it makes me happy that I make you feel so good you can't walk after we make love. Ino blushed at the comment and gave him the first of the Underworld movies, and he put it in and sat next to her. I will give you that. You are an amazing lover, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled as he hit the play button and kissed her on the forehead. I think that I am the best lover, Ino-chan. Got to be, since you seem to love it so much. Ino's blush got redder at his comment and she just cuddled deeper into his chest so he couldn't see. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Naruto smiled as he knew that was Ino talk for yes, and he stroked her hair as they watched the movies, and after the third one Naruto looked at her in a confused fashion. Did we watch the wrong movie first, Ino-chan? Ino smiled as she looked at him. No, we watched them in the right order, Naruto-kun. It's just that the third movie was a background movie, like your X-Men Origins movie. Naruto nodded as he put in the fourth movie and they watched it together, and then Ino sat up. I think that we have watched enough movies lately, don't you, Naruto-kun? Naruto smiled at her and nodded his head as he looked at her. The apartment complex has a gym. I was going to go check that out if you wanted to come along, dear. Ino smiled and nodded as she stood up and walked into their bedroom and got them both a pair of socks and shoes as he cleaned up the glasses from watching movies. They went and checked out the gym. It was about 3, and Ino wanted to see how much they could both max out on without using chakra with the bench press. Ino was able to do 120 pounds without a chakra boost but was able to push it to 200 if she used her chakra. Naruto was at 300 without chakra and when he used his chakra he was able to go to 650. Ino muttered under her breath about how strong he was and he smiled at her. Ino-chan, come here, you can be just as strong as I am. Ino looked at him in a confused fashion but she trusted him so she came and laid on his chest as his clones brought the weight down to 400 pounds and he smiled. This may feel odd, Ino-chan, but you'll feel really strong. Ino nodded and watched as his hands were engulfed in his Kyuubi chakra and he placed them on her hips and channeled it into her and her eyes rolled in the back of her head from the sensation and she let out a moan. Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled as he kissed her neck and then whispered in her ear, remember what you are doing, Ino-chan, you should be able to lift the 400 pounds like it's nothing now. Ino remembered and blinked to get her eyes back to normal and pushed up and felt no resistance as she lifted the 400 pounds and she smiled and brought it back down and Naruto took his hands off of her hips and panted a little as Ino sat up. Naruto-kun, are you okay? Naruto smiled at her as he sat up as well and looked at her. I am fine, babe, just takes a lot of energy and focus to channel all that chakra. Ino smiled at him and then put her hand on his cheek and kissed him gently. Well, thank you for making it so I was able to do that, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled back at her as he tried to stand but started to lose his balance and his clones disappeared. Whoa. Ino panicked and put her head under his arm so that she could help him get back to the apartment and he smiled at her. Thank you, Ino-chan. Ino laid him down on their bed and she looked at him with a worried expression as she started to pull her chakra into her hands to see if there was anything she could do to heal him. Ino ran her hand down his body and it just seemed like a chakra depletion and when her hand got to his seal her mind was transported into Naruto's subconscious and the Kyuubi opened his eye and looked at her as he laid in his open cage. I know who you are. Ino looked worried and scared as she looked at the Kyuubi and the Kyuubi smiled at the reaction and came out of the cage and Ino backed up into Naruto's chest and she turned to see him looking at Kyuubi. Kurama, you weren't scaring Ino-chan, were you? The Kyuubi let out a laugh as he looked at Naruto and Ino quickly got behind him. I didn't mean to but she appeared and was scared of me instantly. Naruto looked over his shoulder at her and had a sad smile that she picked up on. Sorry about this, Ino-chan. I think you must have some of Kurama's chakra in you still and when you were seeing if I was okay the chakras connected. Naruto turned and put his hand on her forehead and she disappeared from his subconscious and he looked back over at Kyuubi. Sorry we haven't talked much, Kurama. I have been trying to make sure my relationship with Ino-chan lasts for as long as she wants and is happy. But it seems like that might be ending sooner than I thought. She would get tired of me, since she looked petrified. The Kyuubi sighed as he looked at Naruto. Don't worry, Naruto, if she loves you then she won't leave you just because of me. Naruto gave a slight smile as he waved goodbye to the Kyuubi as he went back into his open cage and laid down. Naruto opened his eyes on the bed and Ino wasn't there and he sighed as he didn't see any sign of her. Damn. As Naruto sat up in the bed he looked around the room and he looked at the bathroom and saw it was closed and he knocked on it. Ino-chan. He then heard a vomiting sound and he opened the door to see Ino throwing up and he rubbed her back. Ino-chan, are you okay? Ino flinched at his touch and he lifted his hand off of her and looked away from her with sad eyes. I will go and give you some time, okay? I will see you later, Ino-chan. I love you. Naruto walked out of the bathroom. Naruto-kun, why? Ino heard the apartment door close as she threw up again. Damn it. I shouldn't have flinched at his touch. Ino stopped throwing up as her stomach started to feel a little better and she looked around the apartment to see Naruto had left and she sat down on the couch, just have to wait for him to get home. Naruto walked around the village and stopped outside of the bar and looked at it knowing he shouldn't go in there and then he heard Kiba's voice. Naruto, what are you doing? Naruto looked over his shoulder and then back at the bar doors and spoke in a depressed tone. I am debating right now. Kiba knew that voice, he was very familiar with it since Naruto was his best friend. What are you upset about, Naruto? Let's go talk about it but not here, let's go get some sodas or something. Naruto nodded and he walked with his friend and told him about what happened. How do you know that she flinched out of fear, Naruto? Maybe she just didn't hear you over throwing up. You said you got sick the first time you entered your own subconscious and she entered into someone else's subconscious. It's not like her clan's jutsu, it had to be hard on her body. Naruto looked at his soda and was still depressed. You didn't see how scared she looked though, Kiba, and when I touched her and she flinched. Kiba took his friend's soda away from him and Naruto looked at him. Naruto, you don't know that is actually how it happened, you need to go home and talk to her right now. Naruto looked at his friend and sighed knowing that he was right. Yeah, if I don't go back soon I know she will be more worried than she already is. Naruto grabbed his soda and drank the end of it and threw it away before he walked home and opened the door to the apartment quietly and he walked by seeing Ino in the living room asleep. Naruto smiled a little as he walked over to her and picked her up off of the couch as he looked over at the clock, it was only 5. Naruto walked to the bedroom and laid her down on the bed and covered her in the sheets and she smiled as she felt the sheet and she started to wake up. Naruto was walking out of the bedroom when she realized he was home and carried her to bed, Naruto-kun. Naruto stopped as he heard her say his name and turned to face her and she was getting out of the bed and she looked at him. Naruto-kun, come sit down. Naruto figured that she was going to leave him now and closed his eyes and then walked over to the bed and sat down. Naruto-kun, I am sorry. Naruto looked away and sighed. He knew it was going to happen eventually but he was hoping to be able to be with her for a lot longer before she left him. I understand, Ino-chan. I don't blame you for not wanting to be with a monster. Naruto stood up and she shoved him back onto the bed and looked at him and he looked up at her. I wasn't going to say that, Naruto-kun. I was going to say that I am sorry for flinching after you touched me. I didn't hear you over throwing up. Naruto stared at her as she stared back and saw he was confused. I don't understand. Why would you stay with me after entering my subconscious and seeing Kyuubi? Ino looked at him and pushed him back on the bed and straddled him as she looked at him. That's simple, it's because I love you, Naruto-kun. Naruto stared at her and he put his hands on her hips as she sat on his staring at him. I thought you would hate me now, Ino-chan. Ino understood that he was used to people hating him for the Kyuubi and she doubted many, if any, had seen the Kyuubi like that. Naruto-kun, listen to me, I could never hate you, I love you too much to ever hate you. Just because people used to act like that because of you being the Kyuubi Biju doesn't mean and that I entered your mind or whatever and saw Kyuubi means I would ever hate you or want to leave you. Naruto looked at her as she leaned down and kissed him to try and reassure him. Kyuubi was why Naruto had a bad childhood and she needed to show him that it wasn't like that now and felt Naruto start to kiss her back. As she broke the kiss, Naruto held onto her hips gently and she looked at him and saw he was a little reassured. Ino-chan. I love you so much. Ino smiled at him as she ran her hand on his whisker marks and he had a small smile and leaned up and kissed her passionately and she kissed him back, putting her arms around his neck and running her hand through his messy blonde hair and he broke the kiss. Ino smiled at him again, still running her hand through his hair as she looked at him. So do you feel better now, Naruto-kun? Naruto nodded at her as he detected something odd in her tone and then she slapped him across the cheek and he rubbed his jaw. Naruto Uzumaki, you ass, how dare you think that I would leave you over something like this? You would have to do something like cheat on me for me to ever leave you. Naruto continued to rub his jaw as he looked at her and felt bad. Ino-chan, I am sorry. I'm not sure it helps but I am. Ino looked at him and kissed where she just slapped. Naruto-kun, it does help but I really wish you would stop instantly assuming the worst and talk to me before you leave thinking the worst. Naruto looked at her and could understand that she was upset with him. I am very sorry, Ino-chan. I can't help it though. Kyuubi is the reason everyone hated me. I saw how you acted in my mind and I just thought. Ino already knew all this. She knew he was worried about a lot of things when it came to the Kyuubi. I know, Naruto-kun, but I am in love with you, Naruto-kun. I wouldn't leave you because of the Kyuubi. Naruto looked at her and smiled at her. I am more in love with you, Ino-chan, and I will try to stop worrying about everything, okay, babe? Ino pushed him down all the way onto the bed and kissed his neck. Nope, I am more in love with you, Naruto-kun. You owe me. Naruto gave a mix of a growl and a moan at the same time. Okay, Ino-chan, but next time I get to be the one that is more in love. Ino sat up and looked like she was thinking about it, then smiled as she looked at him. We will see about that, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled as he rolled her over on the bed and looked at the clock to see that it was now 6. I will go make us some food, okay, Ino-chan. Ino smiled at him. Every time he said that he was going to make them food, he ordered food from somewhere and she always teased him. Where are you ordering from? I mean, what are you making tonight? Naruto smiled at her comment and leaned down and kissed her cheek. What would you like me to make? Ino thought about it and then pulled him into another kiss before sitting up herself. I think that you should make us a pizza. Naruto nodded and grabbed the phone and called the pizza place and ordered a large cheese, and within 10 minutes the delivery boy was there and Ino paid him this time. Thanks for the large tip, Mrs. Uzumaki. Naruto and Ino both had wide eyes at the comment, and Ino sighed and looked back to see Naruto acting fine and was surprised. Naruto-kun, are you okay? Naruto placed a couple of plates on the table and some sodas for them as he looked at her. Yeah, why wouldn't I be fine, babe? Ino came and put the pizza on the table and watched him closely and didn't see any of his usual freak-out reactions. You heard what the delivery boy said, right? Naruto nodded his head as he got Ino out a couple of pieces and then got himself out some and looked at her as she sat down. Why are you staring at me like that, Ino-chan? Ino was watching him closely, waiting for the freak-out. I am waiting for you to start to panic from what the boy said. Naruto smiled as he took a bite out of the pizza and swallowed it. I'm not going to though, Ino-chan, so you should enjoy the pizza I made for you. Ino smiled at his comment and took a bite out of the pizza but continued to watch him. Okay, seriously Foxy, when are you going to start to freak out? Naruto laughed as he swallowed another bite of his pizza. Ino-chan, I told you that I am not going to freak out. You said that we are moving at a good speed and when we are both ready for that step I will know. Ino smiled as she took another bite of her pizza and her eyes stopped staring at Naruto as much but frequently checked to see if he started to freak out. They ate the pizza and then Ino wanted to play a game called Crazy Eights and it was high stakes. She naturally won though. How do you win every game we play, Ino-chan? Ino smiled at him as she shuffled the deck to play again. Let's chalk it up to woman's intuition. Now you lost, now say it, Naruto-kun. Naruto pouted to try and get out of it but Ino wasn't budging. Okay, fine, a bet is a bet. He cleared his throat. You, Ino Yamanaka, love me, Naruto Uzumaki, more. Ino smiled happily as she finished shuffling and Naruto won the next game and she had to say it and she pouted at Naruto. You look adorable like that, my dear, but you still have to say it. Ino muttered under her breath and then spoke. You, Naruto Uzumaki, love me, Ino Yamanaka, more. The game was tied now and they raised the stakes to the winner gets the right to claim it for the remainder of the week, and Naruto won in the end and threw up his arms in victory. I won. Ino looked at his cards and couldn't believe it, and when she touched the top card it changed and she glared at him and he looked at her and darted towards the bedroom. She chased after him and caught him quickly and growled at him. I knew there was something suspicious going on. Now I get the right for 2 weeks. Naruto let out a moan and rubbed his hand on her cheek. But Ino-chan, that's not fair. I couldn't resist hearing you say that I love you more with your gorgeous lips. Ino blushed at the comment and then focused. She couldn't let him beat her like that. Not this time, Naruto-kun. Now I want to hear you say it right now and then I will give you a kiss. Naruto smiled at her. Seemed like a decent compromise. Okay, Ino-chan. You, Ino Yamanaka, love me, Naruto Uzumaki, more. Ino smiled as she put her hand on Naruto's cheek and led him down into a passionate kiss and then broke the kiss, and they looked at the clock and saw that it was 10 now. Damn, those were long games. Ino-chan, are you tired? Ino nodded her head and he pulled down the sheets for her to get into bed and took off his socks, shoes, shirt and pants and laid down next to her in his boxes and she cuddled into him happily sighing. Ino kissed Naruto's chest a couple of times and then looked up at him and smiled as he looked at her. I love you, Naruto-kun. Naruto returned the smile and then leaned down and kissed her gently on her lips. I love you too, gorgeous. Ino smirked as she saw her way to get an easy shot in and kissed him one last time. I love you more, pillow. Ino laid her head on his chest and could hear him growling a little and smiled as she slowly fell asleep. Naruto held her close to him and kissed the top of her head as she slept and smiled. I love you more, Ino-chan. Naruto fell asleep with that and he woke up to the feeling of Ino trying to get out of bed without waking him. Naruto slowly opened his eyes to see Ino smiling sheepishly at him. Hey Naruto-kun, sorry, I was trying not to wake you up. Naruto smiled at her as he looked over at the clock and saw it was 8 in the morning and he looked at her. Where are you going to early, Ino-chan? Ino smiled as she leaned down and kissed him. I was going to make us breakfast and let you wake up to our home smelling amazing by a meal we actually made here. Naruto smiled as he looked at her and she got off of the bed, but he wrapped his arms around her and pulled her onto the bed again. I would rather just keep holding you though, Ino-chan. Ino smiled at him as he pulled her close to him and she put her hands on his chest and kissed him gently. As tempting as that sounds, Naruto-kun, I am hungry. Naruto smiled at her and he released her. I can make you breakfast if you want then Ino-chan, and I promise I will actually make it. Ino smiled. He was actually an amazing cook, but he found ordering food much easier. I will make breakfast, but you can actually make me dinner tonight. How does that sound? Naruto smiled at her and then leaned in and kissed her again, and Ino started to get into the kiss but stopped herself before she got too involved in something. I want breakfast Naruto-kun, so I can't fall for your little tricks right now, no matter how tempting. Naruto winked at her and she got out of the bed and got away before he could pull her back down, and Naruto climbed out of the bed and made it and took a quick shower. He came out to was greeted by amazing smells, and he walked into the kitchen in boxes and shorts and looked to see Ino almost done with breakfast, and he kissed her shoulder and put his arms around her waist. It smells amazing, Ino-chan. Ino smiled as she felt him wrap his arms around her and she could smell his body wash on him. You took a shower without me, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled as he kissed her neck. I can always take another one, but I thought you couldn't fall for any of my tricks right now, Ino-chan. Ino growled at him as she knew he was going to find a way to tease her with that. Going to play it like that, Naruto-kun. Maybe I don't want to take a shower with you then. Naruto kissed her cheek and whispered in her ear, you know I will only go in there with you if you want me to, Ino-chan. Naruto picked up one of the pans and put some eggs on each of their plates as Ino looked at him, and he put the pan in the sink and put some water in it. Ino smiled as she got an idea. If he was going to tease her, then he was going to tease her, then she would do it back. Ino came up behind Naruto and rubbed her hands on his back and then around to his chest and embraced him from behind, receiving a moan, and ran her hands down his body to the top of his shorts and stopped. I'll think about it. Naruto smiled as he looked over at her. She had always enjoyed teasing him. Whatever you decide is perfectly fine with me, Ino-chan. Ino looked at him with an unsettling look and Naruto wasn't sure what he did. What's wrong, Ino-chan? Did I say something? Ino looked at him and he was starting to get an uneasy feeling. Ino-chan. Why are you staring at me like that? Ino turned away from him and went to walk towards the table, but he gently grabbed her wrist. Ino-chan, I don't understand what I did to upset you. Ino turned to look at him and she looked at his confused face. Naruto-kun, why don't you ever tell me and try to do what you want? Naruto looked at her in a confused way. But all I want is what will make you happy though, Ino-chan. Naruto looked at her and she continued to stare at him. Yeah, but I want to make you happy as well, Naruto-kun, and that is hard to do when you never tell me what it is that you want. Naruto felt that she wasn't trying to get away from him and he released her wrist and put his hand on her hips. Ino-chan, I am the happiest that I have ever been already because of you. Now I want to make you happy. Ino put her hand on his cheek and then leaned on his chest and led him to the table and sat him down and then sat on his lap, and he smiled. We're eating like this again, huh, sweetheart? Ino smiled and she took a bite of the food that she had made and took a forkful for him and fed it to him. How does it taste, Naruto-kun? Naruto swallowed the food and smiled at her. Tastes good like everything else that you make, Ino-chan. You could have been a chef. Ino smiled as she took another bite of the food and looked at him. You know that flowers are my secret passion, Naruto-kun, but I like being a kunoichi. Naruto smiled as he knew all about Ino and her flower obsession. She often liked to stop at the flower booths during fairs to see if there were any rare ones for her secret garden, something she had yet to show Naruto. Naruto put his arm around her waist and held her as he took the fork and took a bite and then fed her one, and he continued to do this for the rest of the meal while occasionally gingerly touching her bare stomach with his fingers to tease her. It did work in teasing her. His gentle touch was driving her insane with want for him and her hard breathing, blush and slight moans every now and then. Naruto picked Ino up and then sat her down on the table and looked at her red face. You look even more beautiful when you're blushing, baby. Ino put her hand on his Naruto's head and grabbed his hair and made him look at her. Get us in the shower right now, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled as he stood up and put his hand under her and grabbed her firm ass to carry her as she put her legs around him, and he carried her through their bedroom into the bathroom. Naruto made intense, passionate love to her for as long as she wanted. She was extremely horny for some reason this morning, making it so Naruto came 4 times and Ino lost count of how many times she did. As Naruto carried her out of the shower and dried her off, he got out clothes for them and he helped her get dressed. Naruto-kun, will you always take such good care of me? Naruto smiled as he helped get her skirt on since she couldn't feel her legs. I will take care of you for as long as you want me to, Ino-chan. Ino smiled back at him and pulled him up into a kiss and put her hand behind his head. That means you are going to be taking care of me forever, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled as he kissed her again and he felt her glide her tongue into his mouth, which we happily received and wrestled with, and then she broke the kiss from him. You shouldn't start something you can't handle, sweetie, and I would love to take care of you forever, Ino-chan. Ino smiled at him. He was probably right and she couldn't handle much more physical activities right now. I could always try and then it's a deal and you'll take care of me forever. Naruto smiled and nodded at her for the last part. I don't want to hurt you, Ino-chan, so unless you really want to continue, I don't think that we should right now. Ino smiled as she put her hand on his cheek and kissed him. I do want to, Naruto-kun, but I do think that it would make me pass out. Naruto smiled as he turned on the TV in their bedroom and grabbed takers for them to watch and turned it on and laid down with Ino on their bed and she cuddled into him and fell asleep. The rest of the time before Kiba and Hinata's wedding was spent either on missions together or spending time together doing various things around the village. Kiba had opted out of having a bachelor's party which no one really cared about, and he and Naruto went out for bowling and drinks the night before the wedding instead. While Naruto and Kiba were out drinking, the girls stayed at Naruto and Ino's apartment and watched movies while drinking martinis. Ino wasn't too thrilled with watching the chick flicks that Hinata loved so much. She would have rather went and had fun bowling with Naruto and Kiba while drinking beers. She smiled at the thought of bowling with Naruto. He was absolutely terrible at it since he tried to muscle the ball instead of aiming for the right angle and she always beat him. Ino watched as the notebook ended and Hinata, Hinabi and Tenten were all crying and she rolled her eyes and heard loud laughter and the door open as Naruto and Kiba came stumbling in and heard Naruto speak, "Shush. Ino-chan might be sleeping." All of the girls watched as Naruto and Kiba came around the corner to the living room and they all stared at each other and he smiled at Ino. "Hey sweetie." Ino smiled and shook his head. They were obviously drinking more than beer and he came stumbling over to her and collapsed down next to her. "Did you know Kiba cheats at bowling like you do, Ino-chan?" Kiba was drunk as well and yelled at Naruto while resting his head on Hinata's lap. "You're the one that was using wind manipulation to throw strikes, you damn cheater." Naruto shook his head and looked at Ino and kissed her cheek. "I have no idea what he is talking about, babe." Ino had Naruto rest his head on her lap like Hinata was doing for Kiba and stroked his whisker marks and getting a moan as all the girl giggled. "Ino-chan, I love you and don't worry, I will never let you down." Ino smiled at Naruto and leaned down and gave him a gentle kiss. "I love you too, Naruto-kun, and I know." Naruto passed out and Tenten looked at Ino. "What was that all about, Ino? The whole not letting you down thing?" Ino looked at her friends as she stroked Naruto's hair. "When he is drunk he doesn't worry as much and is more confident in himself that he won't disappoint me. It's really sweet when I think about it. Even when he is drunk he only wants to not let me down." The girls all smiled as Naruto rolled on her lap and he nuzzled his head into her lap some more and mumbled in his sleep, "Ino-chan." Ino smiled as she shook his shoulders and he woke up and looked at her and smiled. "Hey Ino-chan, when did you get home?" Ino just shook her head and kissed him gently. "Come on Naruto-kun, let's go lay down, okay? I am really tired." Naruto nodded and went to stand and stumbled a bit and shook his head and lifted Ino up and she smiled. "Naruto-kun, you're drunk so you don't have to carry me to bed." Naruto smiled as he stumbled every couple of steps and opened the door to their room and walked in. "But I like to carry you, Ino-chan." Ino smiled as Naruto placed her down on the bed and laid down next to her and fell asleep almost instantly and she shook her head. "Such a sweet idiot." Ino carefully crawled over Naruto and walked out to the living room where her friends were gathering their things to go. "Sorry about him, girls." From his breath it smelt and tasted like they had been drinking scotch and that affects him faster than the QB heals him. They all said it was fine and Hinata helped Kiba get home, which was lucky for them right next door, and Hinabi was staying with them while Tenten went home. Ino locked up the door and went back to bed and laid down with Naruto, who by reflex alone pulled her into a cuddling position and started to mumble in his sleep. "Ino-chan smells like flowers." Ino smiled as she put her head down on his shirt and could smell the scotch, and she took off his shirt and his typical cinnamon and earth type smell was what she could smell now, and she cuddled into him and fell asleep. Their alarm set to go off at 6. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.